Hey there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today we are talking about the whole self. What is the whole self? Well, it depends on what facet of the crystalline perspective of topic called whole self we want to look at. There are many perspectives. It just depends on the two-legged you ask, I guess. If you ask Heather Feather, to me, the whole self is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The last video that I did was on this topic, and it's really interesting. I think it may be my precognitive ability. I'm not sure, but I sometimes see things and, something will flush up in the field and that becomes the very thing, whatever I'm focused on, that is kind of the issue that's around the bend. So, in my last video, I mentioned I met a really nice gentleman that I certainly wish well. And what I noticed after getting to know this gentleman is he wanted to offer me 25% of himself. He wanted to offer me his physical self. And it was initially difficult to see because at the initiation of our interaction, he was offering me physical, mental, and emotional. And I decided that for 2023, I'm not focused on romance or the opportunity for my sexual self to be expressed. I'm focusing on my business. I'm focusing on my own growth and development. I'm just not going to focus on that topic because it hasn't been working out, which feels like a no from the universe. And if divinity tells me no, okay, let me put my attention where it needs to go. And so that was a big epiphany I had at the end of 2022 is how much the concept of partnership, romance, sexual expression can sometimes weigh in on my attention. And it's like, well, the universe keeps saying no, so let me just take the no. Let me take the no and let me take the magnitude and the amount of attention I have on this topic called romantic connection, called expressing monogamy, called partnering with somebody, and let me redirect it to where that attention can actually serve. Let me put that attention on something the universe is trying to say yes on, like my business and my business growth. So I did that. And since I did that in 2023, divinity has seen fit to bring two-leggeds to me that are opening the box of this topic called Let's Connect. So the gentleman I connected with recently that I met at a grocery store, super cute way to meet, I've always thought. Initially, he was handing me his physical self, his mental self, his emotional self. We were having communication. There was a lot of interaction and expression. There were, I felt, components of what was being said that had emotional intelligence or emotional weight and depth and profundity. And even though I have done a lot of work on all four aspects of my being, and because we're evolving entities, Heather always has more work to do, but I feel like I have well developed the whole self. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual have always had a lot of attention from me, and I really work to maintain balance in all four quadrants of my being. And I'm just now recognizing as somebody who has always been, I consider a relatively low maintenance woman. When it comes to partnership, I'm extremely low maintenance. I'm easily pleased, and I've just now started realizing this year, even though that's true for my being, I still am a complex being. And there are ways in which, in order for me to find fulfillment in partnership, all four quadrants of my being, all four of my fires need to be stoked. And so we just did a video on fire stoking. And what I was recognizing is I think I was having a precognitive awareness. I was like, oh, wow, I'm starting to recognize this gentleman is stoking 75% of my being. But then that quickly transpired into being, again, just physical. Just 25% of his being wanted to connect with just 25% of my being. And then that's what Heather calls, I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. This is not fulfilling. 25% is not fulfilling. If we look at the math on 100%, 25% is not fulfilling, 75% is not fulfilled. And so initially I flirted with this idea of not having the spiritual connectivity because I was like, 75%, that math adds up. This seems like it's a really good connection. And ultimately it's not a match because if you can't activate and stimulate my mind, but you can stimulate my body, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. You can't stimulate and activate my heart, but you can my mind and my body. 50%, still not enough. You got to be willing to at least figure out who you are emotionally. You got to be willing to discern. I understand that we are culturally in a place that many men are conditioned to not have liberty around their emotions. There can be a cultural conditioning around the masculine principle. You're a provider, you're a problem solver. Nobody cares about how you feel. You got to be a man, you got to be the rock, you got to be the strength. And it's not true. Actually, the most beautiful and strongest thing Heather Feather ever experiences is a man crying, is an emotionally intelligent man, is a man in touch with his emotions. It's usually indicative of them having some layer of connection to their spirit, because gut feelings, our intuition speaks to us through our feelings. So if you're connecting to your intuition, you're connecting to different layers of your being, which includes your spiritual being, which includes your superconscious self, as well as your subconscious self, in addition to the conscious self, which is connected to the physical body. But the subconscious self is connected to the soul, and the superconscious self is connected to the spirit, or I am that I am. And so when you're more unified and holistically connected to yourself, usually you'll be connected to your emotions if you're connected to your spirit, because those two are interwoven in a certain way. And there are aspects, certainly, of emotion that again, don't fit into the physical paradigm. How big is love? How much does it weigh? What is its volume? Where does it live? Does it have a limited supply? We've talked about this, those are the same questions you could ask about God. There are aspects of existence that are experienced through internal experience rather than external. Rather than using your eyeballs to view a microscope, you have to go within and use your third eye to see what's going on in the realm. And in order to be a knower of whether or not soul, spirit, God, forgiveness, love exists, you have to go within to access these ancient medicines and things that have been spoken about since the dawn of time, these aspects of being that many books of poetry have been written about. So we go within, right? And so many teachers will talk about going within. As I go within my own temple, I begin to recognize I am looking at the world and witnessing so many that are not connected to the whole self. As a matter of fact, they're not connected to 50% of themselves, which to me is tragic and sad, because you are more, you have more, you are more, and you have more to offer. And so I've had after a long period of non-connection and rejection and alone time, which I love and think everybody needs. If you haven't spent time alone with the self, then that's part of how you experience the whole self. And I highly recommend that. If you're somebody that's jumped from relationship to relationship to relationship, if you have a relationship right now, that's great. And may that work out. But if it doesn't, I do recommend you spending alone time. Heather's had a lot of periods in her life where she's had alone time. And that alone time has given me the grace to look at and consider and weigh the whole self, to consider how much time am I spending on physical health? Am I being obsessive about physical health and what I eat and my exercise program, and not paying attention to my mental health? If I'm not paying attention to my mental health, I'll find my emotional health will be off balance, because emotions are the thing that naturally follows our thoughts. And do I focus on spiritual health? Am I doing any spiritual development? Am I doing any evolutionary work, right? So spending time alone is a grace. But in the past, since I've decided to not really focus on relationship, it's funny. It's like moth to a flame. All of a sudden, all these people have been coming into my life. And it's been this year mostly men. And as I watch these men that come in, this man sends me a picture of his penis. Then he sends me a picture of his face. He doesn't send me any words or communication. Okay, he's not bad. He's not wrong. He's not getting it wrong. And I'm not right. And I don't have the solution for him. But I can tell you, for me, I'm a woman that's full of words. Here's some that I'm giving you right now. So if you don't have any words to offer me, then there's no mental stimulation that's occurring that's causing me to feel connection. And truly, for me, sexual stimulation stems from the sense of mental and emotional stimulation, which causes a sense of safety for me to open to my sexual connection. But I've had more than one man in the past, since the beginning of 2023, so 4.5 months, 5 months, send me pictures of their genitals, which is the most intimate part of your body, without really offering a lot of mental and emotional stimulation. So we haven't connected as beings. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. But you want to show me the most intimate part of your body. And why are you doing that? It's because you want validation on the physical level. So let me just tell everyone out there, I validate you physically. Okay, you're validated now. Heather just validated you all physically. Now, can we see if we're a match and if we have connectivity on a mental and emotional level? I've had people, I think it was my grandma that would say or maybe my sister in response to something my grandma said, make sure that the person you're going to spend time with romantically is somebody you want to talk to in the morning. And I've had other individuals come into my life. Hey, we can have sex with each other once every 2 weeks, but no, I don't want to offer you monogamy. No, I don't want to offer you mental connection, conversation, emotional stimulation. I'll just offer you my body. Newsflash, you're not an object. You're not a slab of meat. You are more. You are a mind. You are a heart. You are a spirit. And when you are offering me only 25% of your being, what I am seeing is a dissociation from the whole self, a disconnection from the magnitude of who you be. And it's weird for me because I'm somebody that spends the majority of my time, a large percentage of my time, in the spiritual vein of focus. So I have to remind myself to focus on the physical. Did you eat? Have you had enough sleep? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you meeting your needs? Are you hot or are you cold? I have to remember to come back to physical because so much of my work revolves around spiritual and often, mental reprogramming for emotional states that I seek to experience as a result of healing trauma and PTSD. So I do a lot of my work to maintain mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I'm really good at, I eat really well. I exercise a lot. I take care of myself. I also allow myself balance and have some playtime with food as well, and then come back to discipline. And I can be very disciplined. But my balance, my balancing the whole self tends to stem from making sure the core needs of the physical self are attended to, because I'm often in the spiritual realm. I'm often astral traveling. So I always come back to the body. Have you eaten a snack, Heather? Have you had enough sleep, or are you being a grouchy-puss out in the world? Let's rein it in, sister. Let's get friendly again. Let's make sure we get enough rest so that we can be friendly to the world, because friendliness is what I seek. So therefore, it's what I will offer. And so I'm asking you today, are you expressing your whole self? I have had a number of entities come into my life, all of them male, interestingly, and offer me their physical selves. Heather loves sex. I love physical connection. I love touch. Touch is one of my primary languages because it's not something, although I had it a bunch in my youth, I haven't had it a lot since I've turned into my late 40s, It hasn't been as present. And I crave it. But I'm not willing to eat on an apple that's 75% rotten. Because, nobody's paying attention to how the apple's being cared for. If you only can give me this tiny portion of yourself when you are so much more, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why is it fulfilling to you to only receive 25% of me? Do you know the magnitude of my mind? Do you know what my mind has to offer you? Do you know the magnitude, the depth, the profundity of my love? No, not at all. Not if you're offering me only a quarter of your being. Do you know the intimacy we can experience if we connect spiritually, if we connect etherically, in addition to mentally and emotionally? So today I'm asking you, how is your whole self doing? How much are you expressing your whole self? How much opportunity are you giving your mind, your throat chakra, Vishuddha, the opportunity to open and express your thoughts and your words? How well are you using your words? How well are you saying, like, that sounded weird, I don't think I communicated that correctly? How well are you allowing yourself the freedom of cleaning up communication? Or saying, like, I don't know how to talk about this, or to liberate the speech? How well can you express your feelings, your heart? That feels weird to me, what you just said. Maybe I have a weird filter, but that feels weird. I don't understand. It made me feel not pleasant. Are you expressing the way you feel? Are you expressing your spirit, your spiritual self? Who is your spiritual self? How much connection do you have? How much meditation have you done? How much have you gone with into the temple? What do you have to say about that experience? How would you like to share that part of yourself with the world? I think about the whole self a lot, and I am constantly in a state of development on it. And what I'd like to see, because I do see very clearly into the depth and profundity of every being I engage with, is more expression of the whole self. It's in there. It's just being ignored. You've got stores and stores and stores of greatness within you, and there are aspects that are being ignored. For some people, they're ignoring the physical. For some people, they're ignoring the spiritual. For some people, they're ignoring many aspects of self. Are there any that you're ignoring today? Would you like to be restored so that you might express to the world your whole self? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, and we do have more classes coming up, Egyptian and Hawaiian shamanism. I'm Moon.